As you begin to do more work in your documents, and especially with longer documents, you're going to need tools to locate your text and work with it. In this lesson, we will introduce you to the way to work with Microsoft Word's basic navigation and editing tools. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to navigate using the scroll bars, use your keyboard to navigate through a document, and use a variety of methods to select text. At Westcal Publishing, Grace has been promoted to work alongside the assistant editor. To help her boss, she needs to begin working with much longer documents than she has used before this. Grace will need to know the best ways to find and work with text. Microsoft Word's basic navigation and editing tools will help her to locate and modify her content. Scroll bars are included in Microsoft Word. They're a common application element, and you may have used them in other applications. They work in a similar way here. The vertical scroll bar is on the right of your screen. You may also have a horizontal one at the bottom of your screen, just above the status bar. The horizontal one here, for instance, displays if you are zoomed in on your document and need to move left and right to view its full width. A scroll bar has this shaded shaft area with an arrow button at each end and a scroll box, sometimes called a thumb, between the arrow buttons. The full scroll bar length here represents the overall length of your document. The scroll box represents the portion of the object that is visible right now. There's a few ways to use the scroll bars to navigate your document. Use the arrow buttons, clicking once or holding down your primary mouse button. Drag the scroll box up or down. And you can also click in any part of the scroll bar shaded area to move to that part of the document. A click of your secondary mouse button anywhere on the scroll bar gets you a shortcut menu of navigation choices. One small note of caution: when you use the scroll bar, it displays a different part of your document, but it does not move your editing cursor. To edit, you need to move the mouse pointer to the place you want to adjust and then click to relocate the cursor to your required editing point. Some users find that using an external keyboard for navigation helps them work more efficiently. For users who have mobility or vision issues, keyboard operations can be an essential alternative to using a mouse. In further resources at the end of this module, there is a document with a link to full guidance on using the keyboard to navigate in a Word document. For now, let's just mention a few essential keyboard keys that you can use to navigate easily and quickly. Page up goes up one page. Page down goes down one page. Home goes to the beginning of a document. And end goes to the end of a line. You can also use the Control key with the Home key to go to the very beginning of a document, or use the Control and End keys to go to the very end. Many Word editing operations are best done by a select and do process. That is to say, you first select some content, then you indicate what command you want to use. Word applies the command to that section you had selected. Other parts of your content remain unchanged. To illustrate this, here the second sentence of the paragraph is selected. Pressing delete erases that sentence but leaves the rest of the text untouched. We'll explore these methods of selecting: selecting text with the mouse, selecting text with the keyboard, and selecting text and objects using the Home tab. Most often you will select text using your mouse or other pointing device. You click and drag with your mouse to select text. When text is selected, the text appears highlighted. Remember, when text is selected, any changes you make will be applied to the entire selection. Let's talk about selecting text with the keyboard. Depending on how you work and what you work at, selecting text with the keyboard can be a faster method than using the mouse. Certainly, if you are typing a lot, it is great to be able to keep your hands on the keyboard and not have to move one off to use the mouse. Most of these keyboard commands involve using the keys found in the middle section of many keyboards: Home, End, and the 4 arrow keys. In further resources at the end of this module, there is a complete description of using the keyboard to select in Word. You can also use the editing group on the Home tab to select text and objects. Click the Select button and then click what you want to select. You can choose to select all the text in the document or select text with similar formatting. Use the Select Objects command to select images, charts, and other objects. The final command, Selection pane, will open a task pane. This selection task pane has a list of objects that you can select. Okay, let's see how to use some of those features. This is a document opened on page 1 of 4 pages. The number of pages is shown here on your status bar. The easiest way to move around is to use your scroll bar. If you do not see a scroll bar, it means you are not actively working in this document. To make the scroll bar appear, just click once anywhere in your document. Clicking and dragging the scroll bar tab will move you up and down through the document. To get a slower, slightly more controlled movement, use the arrow keys at the top and bottom of the scroll bar. The final way to use the scroll bar is to click any part of the shaft area. Clicking here moves you towards the top or bottom of your document. If you prefer moving by using the keyboard, the page up key on your keyboard goes up one page and page down one page. Pressing the home key brings you quickly to the beginning of a line, and pressing the end key jumps to the end of a line. To very quickly go to the beginning of a document, use the Control key with the Home key. That is, hold down the Control key and press the Home key. Let both keys go when you get to your destination. To get right to the very end of a document, you press Control and End. We've spoken of the importance of selecting in Word, primarily because most commands work on the select and do basis. When selecting, often it's text that you want to select. The easiest way to select text is simply to click and drag with your mouse. That is, click and hold down the mouse button, drag your mouse across the text you want to select, and when you get to the end of your text, release the mouse button. Selected text will appear highlighted, and remember, while highlighted, any changes you make will be applied to the selection. For instance, pressing the Delete key will erase the selected text. Or here, with this word best selected, typing the word new replaces the selection. That's a quick way to replace text. With the click and drag selection method, you can select at any level of text: letter, word, phrase, paragraph, page, or other parts. Let's select some text using the keyboard, which can often be faster than using the mouse. With the cursor at the beginning of this word power, hold down the keyboard Shift key and press the right arrow key. Continue to press until the word is highlighted. Use this Shift key method with any other direction keys to select as much text as you wish, selecting down, up, left, or right. There are many other keyboard shortcuts and keys you can use, such as select the entire document with Control-A. You can access a full list of all keyboard shortcuts from the Further Resources item at the end of this module. Here on the Home tab, you can use the editing group to select text and objects. Click Select and then click what you want to select. The first option, Select All, selects the entire document, as we just did with Control-A. The third option, Select Text with Formatting, will select all text in the document with formatting similar to where your cursor is. Use the Select Objects command to select images, charts, and other elements. And the final command, Selection Pane, opens a task pane with a list of objects that you can select. If you have content selected and you prefer now to have nothing selected, to deselect, just click anywhere outside of your selection. Word has many ways to navigate your document and to select text. Choose the ones that suit the way you work. Use the mouse, keyboard shortcuts, or ribbon commands. And remember, you can apply these commands to a single character, a line, a paragraph, in fact to any level of text, including the entire document.